Hello, and welcome back to the channel. How are we all doing today? It's good to have you back. Today we'll be looking at the topic that says the Hebrew language of the Igbo people, the word Ndeeli. Ndeeli. Okay, so now moving straight into it, we are going to look at the meaning of the word first of all, or how the word is used in the language. First of all, now the word means late night. Primarily, it's used to refer to late night. I mean, deep into the night. Okay, anytime from midnight thereabouts. You use Ndeeli to refer to it. Now, in one of our previous videos, we spoke about abali. Abali means night generally, okay? But usually you use it to refer to the early night, from that dusk period, going forward into the night, okay? 8, 9, 10, 11, thereabouts, okay? So from deep into the night, maybe 11, midnight, and so on, you then use in daily. It is more specific, okay? Now, when you take the word and try to break it down in the Igbo language, like you try to break it down and say, what does this part mean or what does that part mean? Because obviously it should be able to break down in the language, but it doesn't necessarily do so easily, okay? But through dedicated research and study into the Igbo language, we've been able to find the component parts of that word daily. Now, the first thing to take note of is that the word breaks into nde and eli. Now, nde is from the verb there. There is a common verb in the Igbo language. It means to diminish in intensity. It means to dampen. It means to fade off. Okay, so or there go. There is the word. Okay, now from there you bring out nde. So nde becomes like a noun. So now the second part of the word is eli. Now eli in the Igbo language today is not a very common term. It's not very familiar. Okay, eli. Now, the meaning of the word is actually up, above. It means the heavens. It means God. Okay, Eli. Now, the reason why this word is not immediately perceptible by the average Igbo person is that the word we know is Elu. Okay, we use Elu, Enu, and those variations like that. So saying Eli, it might not be immediately clear to the average Igbo speaker. So essentially, that word is Eli. Joining these two ideas, you have Nde Eli, Nde Eli, the total dampening of God's light. That is the primary idea of the word Ndeeli, a total dampening of God's light in the sky. Okay, so that is the meaning of Ndeeli. Now, looking at the meaning of this word, if you go back to the previous video we had about abali, you remember that the meaning of abali is father ascends. The word abali, meaning night in Igbo, is actually Abba Aliyah, father ascends. It's Hebrew, it's a Hebrew word essentially. Okay, so following that idea, you then observe something here. When night starts, it is the understanding of the old Igbos that Father is beginning to ascend back into heaven for a period, and that period is night. Okay, so Father's ascent is known as Abali. It starts from your 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock thereabouts. Now, this Ndeeli that is used to refer to deep night or late night is a follow-up of the idea that God is ascending in Abali. So essentially, as God has sent the total or complete ascension of our Father back into the heavens is the word Ndeeli. That is why the meaning of that word is a complete dampening of God's light. That is, as God is ascending, He's taking His light away, and darkness is falling gradually over the land. Okay, it is a follow-up of the idea Abali, which is Abba Aliyah. Okay, so this is how these things move in sequence. The reason why many of us today do not know this is because for some reason, one way or the other, these things are not being recorded along the way. Okay, now this idea of Father ascending or the light darkening does not even begin with Abali. The idea of night coming begins with mgbede. Now, the meaning of the word mgbede today means evening. Okay, now when you break that word down, it breaks into mgbede. Mgbede. Now, mgbede means time of the dampening, a time of the dampening or the beginning of the dampening of God's light. That is why it is used to refer to evening. If you want to watch how time plays out throughout the day, you will notice that when it's getting to evening, the light is beginning to reduce in intensity. That is the dampening that the Igbo people use to call the word mgbede, the start of the dampening of God's light. So that is why we call it mgbede. So for mgbede being the start of the dampening, you go into abali, which is Father ascent. Now you get to the late night or midnight, and you now use the word Ndeeli, that is the complete accent of our Father, or the complete dampening of God's light in the sky, meaning he has got into heaven. So the sky goes completely dark. And so it stays until he begins to, descend again to come and join us once more. And that is why by morning time, the Igbo people then tell you Chiabo or Chiefo. So you see that all these things are follow-up ideas. Chiefo or Chiabo means God's light is revealed again. So it's like a circle. It starts from mgbede, beginning of the dampening of God's light, to night, abali, Father ascends, or Father ascent begins. Okay. Now in daily, Father's ascent is complete, total darkness in the sky. Now the next morning at dawn, we say Chi Abo or Chi Efo. God's light is revealed again, meaning that God has descended once more to come and be with us, his children, once more as the Hebrew people. So that is practically the idea and the meanings of all these words. So essentially, this is very, very important for us Igbos to know today. These are ideas that help you shape and reshape your understanding of the Igbo history and Igbo identity. Very, very important aspect of our identity, because this thing reflects the understanding of the older Igbos. I mean, we're talking about millennia ago, 1,000, 2,000 years ago. These are ideas that have been shaped over time and passed down to the younger ones. The issue there is that there's a break in the knowledge until today, when we are now beginning to look deeper. Okay, so this is where we're going to end it for today. I hope you've been impacted by this, and I will see you on another video. Thank you.